Hello, my creative cuties. I'm back. Let's go. Hey y'all, in this video we're going to draw this face, and of course I start with a grid. Let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to do is use a kneaded eraser to get rid of the grid lines. I don't always use a grid, but I mentioned this on another video. Whenever I want to make sure things are where they're supposed to be before I spend hours and hours of work on a piece, I will go ahead and grid it out, and then I'll get rid of the lines. Now, some people like to keep the lines because it helps them gauge where shadows start and stop and things like that, but I can pretty much eyeball that. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. Now, I lost a few lines with the eraser, and I'm just going to go back and reinforce those. And then I'm just going to lightly add, using an HB pencil or a number 2 pencil, just a layer of graphite onto the face. Reinforcing lines that I don't want to lose. And then I'm going to use a soft piece of tissue and just blend that into the paper. I'm going in also with another layer of HB pencil and a paper stump to define the nose. Just reinforcing lines. And if you noticed, I used sandpaper to clean the tip of my paper stump. And if you're wanting to know what items I use for my drawings, I have a video that recommends certain things, just simple, cheap, and expensive art materials that you can get from Walmart, Hobby Lobby, Michaels, and I will drop that link in the description. So right now I'm just trying to make the nose a nose, trying to make it a structure that comes up off the paper. Still using a number 2 or an HB pencil and a paper stump to blend out this second layer. I'm not completely finished with the nose, but I'm going to move on to the lips. I do that a lot when I do a portrait. I bounce around, keeps it interesting. And then I think it adds more balance to the overall drawing when you just kind of work on the whole thing a little at a time, bouncing from place to place. I am still using the number 2 or the HB pencil to define the shape of the mouth. And the top lip is usually darker than the bottom lip. It's all about how light hits the structure. There's generally more light hitting the bottom lip, so that top lip generally looks darker. And I'm using a paper stump to blend out these additional layers. Now I'm using a number 4 charcoal pencil to define the line where the lips meet. There's very little light in this area, so it's going to appear darker than both the top and lower lip. And then, of course, I use the stump to push that into the paper. I'm using bristle paper, and I recommend that on my video describing different materials you can get cheaply. I'm going to zip through doing the eyes. I have another video on how to draw an eye realistically. I'll link that in the description if you're wanting to see how I get fairly realistic looking eyes. You can go look at that. I didn't think I'd bore you with that in this video this time. See, I care about you. I don't want to hold you hostage unnecessarily. And if you're like me, your attention span is like a gnat, I tell you. I think social media is responsible for that. So now you'll notice that, again, I'm bouncing around on the drawing, going from the eyes to the nose to the cheeks, all the while reinforcing lines and building up values, creating depth gradually and in a balanced way. Now I'm going to use a soft makeup brush. This is a flat brush and it's really soft, and I dip it in charcoal powder and very, very lightly, with a very light hand, very light touch, I'm going to be adding darker values to the cheek and try to define the cheekbone. You want to take your time with this particular step, because if you put it down too quick and too dark, it can be really hard to go back from that. For the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and speed it up a bit. But be sure and take your time. You notice I went back to the mouth. As I add layers to the general area of the face, the lips look lighter. So I'm going back in with, this is a number 4 graphite pencil, and I'm adding a darker layer just to make the mouth more pronounced. And this is a charcoal pencil. And it's all about creating form. It's an illusion, really. Now, when I create eyebrows, I try to capture the direction that the hairs are going in. I don't try to draw every individual hair, but I suggest, with little flicking motions and a very sharp pencil, and this is a charcoal pencil, just hair-like marks, and I just try to make it in the direction that the eyebrows grow. And then I take a very small, soft makeup brush and just kind of blend it out so that they look more natural. I really, really enjoy doing faces. I like drawing people. The other day I did a commission piece. It was a horse. And I enjoyed doing it, but I'm so glad to be back to doing human beings. I usually do with my portraits is start on either toned paper, or I create a background that's gray tone or dark, and it really helps you judge values in the face versus it being on a white background like this. And when you're really trying to define the shape of the face, a dark background, whether it's clothing or a dark background, will really help you to gauge different values. At this point, I'm using a pencil eraser, and I'm adding like a reflection of light to that side of the face. It's all about the lights and darks. Now I'm going in with a kneaded eraser. I really like kneaded erasers. It's like nothing is permanent as long as you don't put it down too hard, too forcefully. And you can just really sculpt something using an eraser. See how I'm adding highlights and it's giving the forehead, the cheeks, the under eye a little more form. And that just about wraps it up for this video. In the next video, I will work a little more on the mouth and the ear, the hair, and the clothing. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.